Three soldiers lie lifeless on a beach, their faces buried in the sand. Why was this image hidden from the public for years? Officials feared its raw depiction of death would shatter morale and support for the war effort. He was just days away from a life-changing moment, but fate had other plans. This haunting photo captures a soldier's tragically unlucky end. A single sniper shot in the war's final days sealed his fate forever. But war's strangest moments don't end there. What could make a man smile in the face of death? This photo captures defiance like no other. In November 1942, a supposed Soviet spy smiled moments before execution in Finland. Captured during the continuation war, his calm demeanor left a lasting impression. This chilling moment underscores the human spirit's strength, even in the face of death, amid Finland's tense alliance with Nazi Germany against the Soviet Union. German civilians, shocked and horrified, were forced to confront the atrocities committed by their government. As they toured concentration camps after liberation, the grim reality of the Holocaust became undeniable. These visits aimed to hold citizens accountable and expose the depths of Nazi crimes. During Operation Barbarossa, Soviet civilians were rounded up by German forces and executed in firing lines. Entire families faced death as Nazi troops carried out ruthless campaigns against perceived enemies. These mass executions symbolize the brutality of the Eastern Front, where countless innocent lives were lost in Hitler's quest for domination. When American troops liberated Dachau, they uncovered horrifying scenes of emaciated prisoners and mass graves. The inhumane conditions revealed the true extent of Nazi atrocities. Liberation brought both relief and shock as soldiers and the world grappled with the horrors of the Holocaust. Dachau became a symbol of human suffering and the urgent need for justice. Roger Godfrin, an 8-year-old boy, became the only survivor of the Oradour-sur-Glane massacre in 1944. Nazis locked 643 civilians in a church and set it ablaze. As others perished, Roger managed to escape, hiding amidst the chaos. This haunting story symbolizes the brutality of Nazi forces and the resilience of an innocent child caught in horror. In 1942, 80,000 Filipino and American POWs were forced to march 60 miles under blistering heat without food or water. The Bataan Death March became a symbol of wartime atrocities. Thousands perished along the way. This tragic event highlights the immense suffering endured in the Pacific Theater during World War II. A recently liberated concentration camp prisoner stares solemnly at the camera in 1945. His hollow eyes and frail body reflect the horrors of Nazi oppression. The Holocaust's devastation left scars on millions of lives. This image serves as a stark reminder of the atrocities committed and the resilience of those who survived. British schoolchildren crouch under desks during an air raid drill amidst the Blitz, 1940-1941. With German bombs ravaging cities, air raid practices became essential for survival. Despite the devastation, British civilians exhibited remarkable resilience. This scene reflects the strength of a nation determined to endure under relentless attack. But while Britain prepared for survival, across the Atlantic, an unexpected attack on American soil would change the course of the entire war. Pearl Harbor. On December 7, 1941, Japanese planes bombed Pearl Harbor, Hawaii, destroying the USS Arizona and killing over 1,000 crew members. Explosions and chaos filled the air, marking the United States' entry into World War II. This infamous attack galvanized American resolve, leading to decisive actions in the Pacific Theater. A TBF Avenger bursts into flames during an emergency landing on a U.S. Navy carrier. Crew members rushed to assist the escaping pilot. These aircraft were vital in Pacific battles, conducting bombing and reconnaissance missions. This dramatic moment highlights the risks pilots face to secure victory in the skies. The devastation in Hiroshima after the atomic bomb on August 6, 1945, is unimaginable. Entire neighborhoods were obliterated, with over 140,000 lives lost. The bomb, nicknamed Little Boy, marked a turning point in history, ushering in the nuclear age. This image underscores the destructive power of war and humanity's resilience in rebuilding. On December 1, 1945, Nazi General Anton Dostler faced a firing squad for ordering the execution of captured American soldiers. This image captures justice served for war crimes committed during World War II. The trial reflected the Allies' resolve to hold perpetrators accountable for their atrocities. Stalin's son, Yakov Jugashvili, is seen captured by German troops. Despite their strained relationship, Stalin attempted rescues, though Yakov ultimately died in a concentration camp in 1943. This tragic story reveals the personal toll of war, even on the families of powerful leaders like Joseph Stalin. Jewish resistance fighters bravely rose against Nazi forces in the Warsaw Ghetto. Though outgunned and outnumbered, they held their ground for nearly a month. Ultimately, many were captured, their faces showing defiance despite imminent death. This act of courage remains a powerful symbol of resistance and the human spirit against oppression. But this is not all. Just wait for the next photos. Survivors of Auschwitz, liberated by Allied forces, stood behind barbed wire, their skeletal forms revealing years of unimaginable suffering. The haunting expressions of those who endured the Holocaust serve as a stark reminder of the atrocities committed. The liberation brought relief, but also unveiled the scale of the Nazi regime's horrors to the world. Dresden, once a vibrant cultural hub, was reduced to rubble by Allied bombings in 1945. Entire neighborhoods were obliterated, leaving thousands dead. The devastation highlighted the war's indiscriminate destruction and raised debates about the morality of targeting civilian areas in war. Today, Dresden stands as a testament to resilience and rebuilding after tragedy. The moment a Japanese kamikaze plane struck a U.S. ship encapsulates the desperation of Japan's final wartime efforts. These suicide missions caused significant damage and loss of life, reflecting the extreme lengths Japan went to resist defeat. This shocking tactic underscored the ferocity of the Pacific War and the sacrifice of its combatants. Captured in a haunting photograph, a Nazi soldier executes a Jewish man, marking the genocidal atrocities of the Holocaust. The victim's calm resignation contrasts with the brutality of his fate. Known as the last Jew in Vinica, this image symbolizes the systematic annihilation of millions during one of history's darkest chapters. Mountains of shoes once worn by innocent children were left behind in Auschwitz. Each pair tells a story of a life lost to the Holocaust. This haunting sight underscores the sheer scale of Nazi crimes, as countless children were stripped of everything, even their chance to grow. The shoes are silent, yet powerful witnesses to history. In a defining moment of World War II, Soviet soldiers raised their flag over the Reichstag in Berlin. This act symbolized Nazi Germany's defeat and the Soviet Union's victory on the Eastern Front. Capturing Berlin marked the war's nearing end, as Allied forces closed in on the Axis powers from all sides. In 1942, Japanese-American families were forcibly relocated to internment camps, their expressions filled with confusion and sorrow. Stripped of their homes and freedoms, they faced harsh conditions under a cloud of suspicion. This tragic chapter in U.S. history highlights the dangers of fear-driven policies, even within a nation fighting for liberty abroad. But the harrowing stories don't end here. What comes next will reveal even more shocking moments of resilience and devastation during World War II. As Allied soldiers liberated Buchenwald, they uncovered scenes of unimaginable suffering. Emaciated survivors huddled together in the barracks, their frail bodies revealing years of inhuman treatment. This moment shocked the world, exposing the true extent of the Holocaust. It was a stark reminder of the horrors that war can breed. Stalingrad, a city once full of life, was reduced to rubble after months of relentless fighting. The battle, a turning point in World War II, saw both sides suffer catastrophic losses. Amid the devastation, Soviet resilience triumphed, halting Hitler's advance. Stalingrad's ruins stand as a testament to human endurance in the face of annihilation. A lone figure walks amidst the ruins of Nagasaki, where the atomic bomb obliterated everything in its path. The destruction left an entire city in ashes, with over 70,000 lives lost. This image captures the profound devastation and marks the dawn of the nuclear age, a chilling reminder of humanity's capacity for destruction. The bodies of Benito Mussolini and his mistress, Clara Petacci, were displayed publicly in Milan after their execution. Crowds gathered to witness the fall of fascism's leader, a stark end for a dictator who once held immense power. This moment symbolized justice for many, as Italy moved toward liberation and rebuilding. Against a backdrop of blazing fires, Allied bombers flew over London during the Blitz. The city endured relentless German air raids, with civilians taking shelter wherever they could. This striking image captures both the chaos of war and the resilience of Londoners, who stood firm in the face of destruction. Behind the barbed wire of Bergen-Belsen, young faces stare out, their innocence stolen by the horrors of war. These children, victims of unimaginable cruelty, symbolize the devastating impact of the Holocaust on the most vulnerable. Their haunting expressions remind us of the urgent need to preserve their stories and ensure such atrocities never happen again. In March 1945, the firebombing of Tokyo turned the city into an inferno. Entire neighborhoods were incinerated, and over 100,000 lives were lost in a single night. Aerial views reveal a sea of flames engulfing one of the world's largest cities. This devastating attack underscored the brutal cost of war for civilians on all sides. The infamous Arbeit macht frei gate loomed over Auschwitz's prisoners, falsely promising freedom through labor. For millions, it marked the entrance to unimaginable suffering and death. This chilling symbol of Nazi deception stands as a stark reminder of the horrors endured in the Holocaust, where hope was systematically extinguished in one of history's darkest chapters. As the Soviet army advanced, masses of German civilians fled East Prussia in desperation. Families left everything behind, seeking refuge amid brutal winter conditions and relentless attacks. This mass exodus, marked by immense suffering, highlights the war's toll on civilian populations, even in regions once far from the front lines, as the Axis powers crumbled. Captured French resistance fighters faced execution by Nazi troops, their bravery defiant until the end. These heroes risked everything to fight for freedom and undermine German occupation. Their sacrifices played a vital role in liberating France and inspiring future generations. The courage of the resistance reminds us that even in darkness, hope endures. Yet for some, fear and propaganda created such despair that it led to unimaginable tragedies, like Japanese civilians jumping from cliffs in Saipan. Terrified by propaganda portraying American soldiers as merciless, Japanese civilians on Saipan chose death over capture. Entire families leapt from cliffs to escape the perceived threat, a tragic result of fear and misinformation. This horrifying event reveals the psychological toll of war and the devastating impact of propaganda on innocent lives. On the beaches of Dunkirk, thousands of British troops awaited rescue while surrounded by German forces. Operation Dynamo miraculously evacuated over 300,000 soldiers, despite relentless air and sea attacks. This desperate yet successful operation became a symbol of resilience and unity, turning near-certain defeat into an inspiring story of survival. After the atomic bombing of Hiroshima, only skeletal remains of buildings stood amidst vast devastation. The attack, which claimed over 140,000 lives, marked the dawn of nuclear warfare. The haunting aftermath highlights the destructive power of these weapons and serves as a sobering reminder of humanity's capacity for both innovation and destruction. In post-liberation France, women accused of collaborating with German occupiers faced public humiliation by having their heads shaved. Crowds gathered to watch, symbolizing retribution and a desire to purge collaborationist elements. This controversial practice highlights the deep scars left by the occupation and the complexities of justice in the aftermath of war. But the stories only grow more shocking as we uncover events like the sinking of the USS Arizona and the chilling Nazi book burnings, moments that reshaped history. During the Pearl Harbor attack, the USS Arizona was struck by Japanese bombs, sinking and taking over 1,000 crew members with it. The devastating surprise attack propelled the United States into World War II. Today, the USS Arizona Memorial stands as a somber tribute to the lives lost and a turning point in history. In 1933, Nazi officials orchestrated public book burnings, targeting works by Jewish authors, intellectuals, and political dissidents. These events marked the beginning of a campaign against intellectual freedom, aiming to erase dissenting ideas. The flames symbolized the suppression of thought, foreshadowing the broader destruction and persecution that would define the Nazi regime. At Nuremberg, high-ranking Nazi officials faced justice for their war crimes. Generals convicted of orchestrating atrocities were executed after the trials, which established precedents for international law. These executions signified accountability and closure for millions affected by the Holocaust and the war's brutality, cementing the importance of holding leaders responsible. Adolf Hitler's underground bunker in Berlin became his final refuge as Soviet forces closed in. Within these walls, he orchestrated his last desperate orders before taking his own life in April 1945. The bunker symbolizes the collapse of the Nazi regime, a chilling relic of tyranny's end amid the ruins of war. Exhausted and freezing, American GIs fought relentlessly during the Battle of the Bulge, one of World War II's bloodiest conflicts. Facing surprise German offensives, these soldiers endured brutal conditions to hold the line. Their determination turned the tide, making this a pivotal moment in the Allied push toward ultimate victory in Europe. Meanwhile, on the Eastern Front, another city's endurance became a symbol of resilience during unimaginable suffering, the Siege of Leningrad. For nearly 900 days, the people of Leningrad endured starvation and relentless bombings during the Nazi siege. Civilians were forced to eat animals, leather, and even glue to survive. Despite unimaginable suffering and over 1 million deaths, the city never surrendered, standing as a symbol of resilience against overwhelming odds. Amid the destruction of the Blitz, Winston Churchill walked through bombed-out London streets, offering words of encouragement. His presence rallied morale and inspired determination to persevere. This moment captured the unyielding British spirit during the darkest days of the war, when hope and leadership were vital to enduring relentless Luftwaffe air raids. Soviet female snipers were deadly marksmen who played crucial roles on the Eastern Front. Posing with rifles, these young women embodied courage and precision, with some becoming war heroes for their high kill counts. Their contributions challenged gender norms, proving women's vital importance in the Soviet war effort and the fight against Nazi Germany. The Luftwaffe's relentless bombing of Coventry destroyed much of the city and killed hundreds of civilians. The raid targeted factories and infrastructure, but devastated residential areas. The ruins of Coventry Cathedral became a powerful symbol of wartime loss and resilience as the city and its people rebuilt after one of Britain's darkest nights. The Battle of Midway was a turning point in the Pacific, with aircraft carriers ablaze and skies filled with dogfights. The U.S. Navy inflicted a decisive blow on Japan, sinking 4 carriers. This victory shifted the balance of power in the Pacific, marking the beginning of Japan's retreat and America's advance toward ultimate victory. But as battles raged on land and sea, the final moments of the war brought one of its most historic images, the surrender of Japan aboard the USS Missouri. On September 2, 1945, aboard the USS Missouri, Japan signed its unconditional surrender, officially ending World War II. This solemn moment symbolized the culmination of years of global conflict. The image of Allied leaders witnessing the event remains a powerful reminder of the war's sacrifices and the hope for lasting peace. Discovered after Anne Frank's family was arrested, her diary became a symbol of hope amid the horrors of the Holocaust. Written in hiding, her words capture the resilience of a young girl dreaming of a better world. Today, it serves as a poignant reminder of the human cost of hatred and the enduring power of hope. Auschwitz survivors bore numbers tattooed into their arms, permanent reminders of Nazi dehumanization. Each number represents a life marked by suffering, survival, and resilience. These tattoos are a chilling testament to the systematic cruelty of the Holocaust, as well as the strength of those who endured and shared their stories to ensure history is never forgotten. In North Africa, British forces decisively halted the Axis advance at El Alamein, marking a turning point in the war. General Montgomery's strategy pushed Rommel's troops into retreat, securing the Allies' control of the Suez Canal. This victory marked the beginning of the end for Axis powers in North Africa and bolstered Allied morale. Italian partisans, key to resisting Nazi occupation, liberated Milan in 1945. Cheering crowds greeted these fighters as they reclaimed their city from fascist control. This victory symbolized the power of resistance and the hope for freedom, as partisans helped pave the way for Italy's liberation and the broader collapse of Axis control in Europe. But the fight for freedom wasn't limited to the streets. Next, we'll uncover the brave students of the White Rose, who paid the ultimate price for resisting Nazi tyranny. The White Rose, a student-led resistance group in Nazi Germany, bravely opposed Hitler's regime through leaflets and protests. In 1943, members were executed for their actions, becoming martyrs for freedom. Their courage in the face of tyranny continues to inspire, reminding us that even small acts of defiance can leave a powerful legacy. The German V-2 rocket was a technological marvel and a weapon of terror. Launched against Allied cities, it struck without warning, leaving destruction and fear in its wake. Despite its impact, the V-2 program ultimately drained Nazi resources without changing the war's outcome. This weapon symbolizes both innovation and the tragic misuse of technology. Allied air raids turned Dresden into a fiery inferno, with thousands burned beyond recognition. The bombing devastated the city, killing tens of thousands in one night. This attack, aimed at breaking German morale, remains one of the war's most controversial events. Dresden's ruins became a symbol of the war's devastation and the toll on civilians. Jewish Holocaust survivors boarded the Exodus, seeking a new life in Palestine after the devastation of World War II. The ship carried over 4,500 refugees, embodying hope and resilience. Their journey symbolized the struggles of displaced persons rebuilding their lives and the broader quest for a homeland, which led to the founding of Israel. We're almost at the end of the video, but stay tuned because you don't want to miss these photos. At Stalingrad, the turning point of the Eastern Front, exhausted and starving German soldiers were captured by Soviet forces. The brutal winter and relentless Soviet resistance decimated the German army. This defeat shattered Hitler's plans for domination in the East and marked the beginning of the Red Army's advance toward Berlin. In 1944, Polish resistance fighters launched the Warsaw Uprising, a courageous attempt to free their city from Nazi occupation. Despite overwhelming odds, they held out for 63 days before being crushed by German forces. The uprising remains a powerful symbol of defiance and the Polish people's unyielding fight for freedom, even in the darkest times. The Nanjing Massacre remains one of the most chilling atrocities of the 20th century. Japanese troops slaughtered over 200,000 Chinese civilians and soldiers, committing widespread atrocities during the Second Sino-Japanese War. The haunting images and survivor testimonies highlight the devastating human cost of imperial ambition and underscore the need for accountability in wartime. During World War II, women took on critical roles in munitions factories, ensuring a steady supply of weapons for Allied forces. Known as the unsung heroes of the home front, they worked tirelessly under challenging conditions. Their efforts not only supported the war effort, but also paved the way for greater gender equality in the workforce. The crew of the Enola Gay posed for a photograph before their mission to drop the atomic bomb on Hiroshima. Their actions would change history, ushering in the nuclear age and ending World War II in the Pacific. This moment captures both the weight of responsibility and the immense consequences of modern warfare. World War II shaped our world through courage, sacrifice, and resilience. From tragedies to triumphs, these stories reveal humanity's strength. Subscribe for more powerful stories.